We're going to deep dive into the intelligent case assignment today. I decided to start the conversation with some sentence that I really connect to, quote from James Collins from Good to Great book. And he said, place the right people in the right seats and the bus will run smoothly. I found it very appealing to our topic today, and I wanted to share this with you as well. So in the agenda today, we're going to focus on the three kind of areas of the presentation. At the beginning, we just will align of the fit of routing, which will help us to get some basics about what is intelligent case assignment is and get some core principles of the routing system. Then we're going to switch gears and talk about a little bit the algorithms that behind the assignment. This is the algorithms that help us to evaluate agent and recommend. It has several aspects, and I want to make sure that we touch each one of them and double tap on them and to understand it a little bit deeper. And in the last part of the conversation, I'm going to demo live several use cases that we frequently hear from our customers. And I want to make sure that I can have opportunity to share it with you and walk you through how can we address those questions and use cases live. So let's start with the first topic, or beginning, I would say, of the conversation, beyond the speed, the fit of routing. So the case assignment in general varies across two-dimensional kind of metrics. From one side, we have manual and auto assignment. From the other side, we have push versus pull. So let's talk about this combination. So from manual push assignment, this mainly require some solution that work for support managers that can be all the time in charge, manually go through the queue of cases and push those cases into the agents. So you can imagine that this requires a lot of effort, a lot of skills from the managers, a lot of time. And also we have a bias here because manager can navigate those cases to particular agents based on particular previous knowledge, etc. Manual assignment with the pool is a little bit more advanced. The agents can pick cases that they want. So they know their skills, they know the cases, but obviously there is a problem here in a lot of organizations that using this method. Agents a lot of time can pick cases only that they prefer. The cases that are urgent or cases that are a little bit more difficult might remain behind, and it has its own issues. On the other side, the automated push will be the one that is commonly used in big organizations. This is the systems that assign cases automatically based on kind of some type of algorithm. It can be skill-based, it can be round robin, it can be any additional rule-based logic. This assignment is very popular among most of the organizations, and customers with a big load of cases frequently using the auto assignment method when they're pushing those cases automatically. Automatic assignment versus pool, this is when we have a privilege to push the cases to the agents with some particular logic behind, but then the agents can take those cases assigned to themselves and actually move forward. It's more encouraging, but it has its own issues as well. All of those options are out and leveraged by the customers. Depends on the size of the organization, depends on the method that they have internally. A lot of customers moving from manual to automation as well. The evolution, let's talk about the evolution a little bit. Traditional assignment is mainly rule-based. In the early 2000s, we saw that most of the companies usually used some static or rule-based methods. Sometimes it was skill-based method of assignment. In the early 2015, some companies started to do early AI pilots, and this is where we become a little bit more mature with the intelligent way of assigning the cases. In 2018, 2019, toward the 2020, most of the customers already jumped into the next gen intelligent assignment when they're leveraging more intelligent automation, AI. A support logic assignment using both methods. We have obviously AI agents navigating all the case assignment. We're using automation a lot. However, we have a backlog of manual cases if customers required some particular use cases for smaller teams or smaller queues when they want to monitor it a little bit closer. Another tap on the shift from manual to automation. So just wanted to highlight here the flexibility of the manual. Again, as I mentioned, some customers still using manual assignment. It does require extra skills from the management perspective, and this is the challenge because it's time consuming. It might be a little bit slower because until you review the case, until you assign manually, it's much more intense. However, the auto assignment is very fast, usually goodly or good balanced, but the challenges are that it requires some setup. Sometimes it requires and the monitoring to make sure that the cases are actually auto assigned in the right flow that actually grow with the team and provide the right solution for the organization. As mentioned before, SupportLogic provide both aspects, manual and auto assignment. Let's discuss a little bit about how AI powers routing decisions. Bottom line, will touch our algorithm of assignment. How do we use the recommendation for the agent and marry this recommendation with the case to perform the auto assignment? So the AI powers routing decisions in mainly four mature buckets. The first one is real-time capacity evaluation. So the AI agents checking the agent availability, which we can manage both in our application, but we also can get agent availability directly from the CRM if customer maintain it in the custom field inside the CRM. It's live check of either agent available or not, or if we're using shifts, it will be assignment hours of the agent. We also, in this bucket, evaluating capacity of the agent, different rules from backlog and assignment limits. Sometimes we want to make sure that the agent assignment is more balanced. And all this is required in order to monitor and check that agents not they are assigned with the appropriate amount of cases, appropriate difficulty of cases, etc. The second bucket of the algorithm of the AI portion is the skill set matching. So at the past, it was very simple skill set. Now we are going into the very nuanced examples of the monitoring. So theoretically, the AI going to evaluate based on the historical needs, based on the manual adjustment, the skills, and propose agents with the right skills to the appropriate cases with intent to grow this knowledge of the agent to make it more mature with the time while the agent experiencing with those cases. Routing prioritization, this is where we are evaluating and prioritizing cases based on customer needs. We have prioritization between the queues, which means that particular cases that can come from different customers or different priorities, etc., might be prioritized above the others. AI agent knows to gather those settings and do this prioritization. And also we have a back agent fallbacks, which means that we are monitoring that assignment performs constantly And if agents that are assigned for particular queue are for some reason not available or their capacity limits are reached, we know to switch to the other team and monitor that assignment continue constantly for the cases that we are more caring about or more important. The last bucket is the customer signals. So the AI agents monitoring the customer sentiment. They monitoring historical data between the agent that assigned to the case and the customer, leveraging the information like sentiment analysis between the reporter and the agent, the SLAs of the case, time overlap of the case, etc., etc. So several points, touch points between the customer and the agent taken into account and evaluated live in order to make sure that the right agents are proposed for the particular cases. This is another way to look at the algorithm. It summarizes all the detailed evaluation points. As we said, the customer experience, prioritizing agent based on the customer historical data and satisfaction. The bandwidth we calculate based on the workload of the users. We have weighted way to prioritize cases based on their statuses and priorities. We have capacity limits for the agents if we want to make sure that they are not overwhelmed. And based on those details, we calculate what is the bandwidth and how much we can assign, and we weight the agent accordingly. Assignment balance, this is when we are providing kind of a penalty for the agent that is recently assigned in order to reduce his priority or his percentage of match in the total calculation. And this is intended in order to less overwhelm the user. So we don't want to assign case after case to the same agent just because he is the best and he is available. We want to make sure that we are reducing his availability based on the recent assignment, and this penalty goes away after configurable time wait of time to make sure that he is freeing and we become higher in this assignment match. Time overlap, it's one of the parameters where we check availability of the agent based on the customer time zone. This intended to provide a better communication between the agent and the customer. So the bigger the overlap, it's better that the customer can get a more fluent replies, and the conversation between the agent and the customer can go much faster. And the skill match is another parameter. As we said, the skill match, it's something that we marry between the skills that we identify or skills needed to the case resolution that we identify on the case, and skills that the agent has, and the skills that agent has we're getting it based on the historical data, meaning that we're scanning all the cases that the agents worked on, and we extracting the skills and checking how those skills helped the agent to resolve those cases, how fast. But we also have manual adjustment of skills. So if customer want to bring skills to the agents and help the agent to grow with these skills and extend, we provide this solution as well. Theoretically, a manual adjustment help not just to provide skills to the agents that maybe don't have previous experience, like new agents that just went through the training, or provide the opportunity to get skills that they might not have historically, but we want them to grow into this platform, into this area. So we can give them some skills. Those cases will be assigned to them or prioritized for those agents, and they can grow their skill set.
That's awesome. Tali, there's a question in from the
Yes.
attendee here. They ask, how is the skills match calculated? Do you take inputs from already working cases, or is there some matrix that feeds this?
Yeah, so the metrics, we have several modules that evaluating the skills. There is one module evaluates skills on the case. Those are the topics or key categories and skills that we extract through the case history, and we adjust them if the case progress. from one module takes care of the skills on the case. Another module takes the skills on the agent based on his historical work. So we scan history of the agent, all the cases, extract the skills, check the mean time of resolution of those cases, and we provide there is a formula that calculating these skills. Plus, we, as I mentioned, have a manual adjustment of the skills, which is providing customers to add the skills that they want to see on their agents, and maybe they don't have this experience previously, and those are taken into account as well. And the third module is the modules that marry those two, takes the skills on the case, takes the skills on the agent, and provide the formula, provide the matching. And this is how we calculate the overall percent for this category.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, before I switch to the last part, which is a demo, and go through the scenarios, I want to make sure that we discuss some technical or tactical steps to enable the best implementation of the module. It does require some setup. So there are several steps here, not all of them mandatory, but I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with them. The first one is the skills ontology. This is what I said. If you want to inject manually or define some skills that your agents want to have, in addition to the auto extractions that we have, this is the opportunity to shape this ontology and maintain it. In the step 2, we need to have some setup for the virtual teams. Again, you can manage the assignment if for using the agents individually. It might be a little bit heavy lifting because every queue will need to have assigned agents. And if you will assign agent by agent, it can be a lot of work. So virtual teams provide you a ability to group those agents into the teams. And theoretically, those teams can be leveraged for assignments. So when you create a queue and you add agents to the queue, instead of adding agent by agent, you add virtual queues, or we have hierarchy, also virtual organization available. In the third step, this is the agent availability function. As I mentioned, we can take agent availability from the shifts that we provide in SupportLogic. There is a dedicated page where you can set your shifts. You can, for each shift, decide what are the assignment hours of the shift or working hours. You add the agents to the shift, and this is how we know when the agent's available. Alternative way is to provide custom field in your CRM where you just put agent by agent availability, like available, not available, as simple as it is, and we can take it from there. We have also fallback logic when none of those available. We have predictions based on the historical data. So we know when the agent work on the cases, and this is how we can predict also his availability. Next point is the virtual queues. As all of you familiar, you have CRM queues in the CRM. This is the queue that defines some logic which is structure the cases into this queue. Some customers using their CRM queues as is, but a lot of our customers prefer to use our virtual queues, which is very similar. It just provides you flexibility to define the queue within SupportLogic. The queue will have a setup of filters to filter the cases and the agents that will work on this queue. So once you define the virtual queue, you have set of rules on the queue. I will show in a second, and you can prioritize between the queues, etc. So this is more flexible for you as a customer. Auto assignment is as simple as it is. You can create queue and just use it as manual assignment on the assignment board. You filter the queue, you see the cases in the queue, and you using the recommendation engine to assign manually. Or you turn on the auto assignment, and once the auto assignment turned on, the cases will be auto assigned from this queue to the agents of this queue. Rules is another option. Again, you don't have to have rules. This is just the configurable way for customers to interact on the queues if you need to provide some capacity limits or turn on round robin in particular cases. We have set of a variety of rules on the queues that you can turn on and off. Okay, then if we don't have any questions, Ryan, do you see any questions in the chat? I just
No, we're all ready
Yeah.
for a demo. Yeah, thank you, Tali.
Fantastic. So then I will switch to the demo and I will walk us through 4 different use cases that we hear the most. Those are the frequent ones. And I want to make sure that we are having opportunity to see it. Okay, so the first question that we hear a lot is as following. Some customers have particular customers of their own that they want to prioritize. And when we say prioritize, meaning that they have strategical customers that are very important for them, and they want to make sure that cases that coming from those customers will be always prioritized and assigned. They don't want to have any cases that lost or cases that delayed. They want to make sure that regardless of the time zone, regardless of the agent capacity, those cases prioritized and assigned all the time. So let's try to do this scenario. We'll start, I'm currently demoing our application. This is the assignment board when we do manual assignment. From the menu on the left, I'm going to switch to the assignment queues and tap on the virtual queues. This is where we can create virtual queues and adjust the logic and provide all the rules. So the first one I will do is to create a virtual queue. I will give it a name. Let's say I will give a name to the queue. I will skip the CRM queue tab, but if you want to start our virtual queue from some existing CRM queue, you can definitely do it. But I will go to the filters and I will select some customers, let's say. So I can go, I will skip the priority and the region. You can do some filters here. I will go directly to the customers. Here, I will just filter my customers. And you can adjust your logic. Sometimes you need to add, as I mentioned, some case fields. Those are the custom fields on the case. You can use the brackets to define the logic, etc. Currently, I just added 2 customers and the queue will be created here below. As a next step, I will create agents, add agents to this queue. Again, you can leverage your individual agents or you can go and create a team.
Tali, this kind of ties into a question that Gustavo just had. He said, how can we automate updates on availability from like a vacation system like Workday so that managers don't have to do it manually? Is that possible right now?
So we enabled the for certain CRMs, we enabled ability to get the availability from the custom field within CRM. So Salesforce and I believe Zendesk, customers can provide this information. We're working on ServiceNow next. Theoretically, they put the availability on the agent level within the CRM on the custom field, and we grab it from this custom object into our system and we leverage this information.
That makes sense. So Workday sends it to Salesforce. Salesforce sends it to this. That's great.
Exactly. Okay, so let's just continue here. I will just pick a few agents. And here, in order to validate and make sure that we are always available, we will create another bucket, which is the fallback, and pick some other team. Sorry. That will back up our primary agents. So the mechanism will work as following. The cases that are coming from those customers will be evaluated and assigned to one of those 3 agents. But if the agents are not available because the time zone is off or the capacity limits are off, then it will fall back into the agents in team 1, whoever is linked to this team.
Tali, there's a question here. Yogi's got a couple really good questions, but I want to get into their second question first, asking how does the system balance the workload if some regions are hotter than others, getting maybe a higher number of cases in the EMEA time zone versus Asia Pac? Engineers in EMEA might get a higher load of cases. Some lower severity cases could have been assigned to different regions. To me, this sounds like the way you would set it up is you would set up an assignment queue for your lower severity cases that can go to anybody, and maybe your higher severity cases do get split by regions. Is that how you would tackle it, Tali?
Yeah, so exactly, you are on the spot. The best way to do it is to create a different assignment queues. And then when you have the assignment queues dedicated to the region you want to prioritize higher, or you want it to be assigned to particular set of agents, you have a flexibility here both to define the logic, what are the cases or customers, what are the agents, and then the next I will touch, this is the rules when you can control the capacity limits, the times of the assignment, etc. So just to continue with this, maybe it will answer some questions. I will go with the scenario. I have a queue with particular customers, and I did assign agents here with the follow-up team. If I turn on the auto assignment now, you will see that on the general settings page, we have prioritization between the queues feature. So to your question, or to whoever asked, if I want to prioritize cases for particular customers, I can put them in priority here, priority 1 bucket. And then if I did not put any other queues in any other bucket, they will be secondary priority. But you have ability to do it priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 if you want to go this route, and make sure that all the cases that are coming from particular queue, again, it can be customer based or any custom field based, they will be prioritized first above the other. And then in additional, you also have ability to go into the queue settings, which is individual queue settings. I will go back to my queue from this setting button, and you will have more rules here. I will demo them in a second. Currently want to focus on one particular one when the agents are not available. So again, our use case here is to make sure that the cases that are coming for particular users, they are always assigned. So we have backup of the agents. We have prioritized this queue above the other queues. Now we're going to use this setting to make sure that if cases are piling, but agents are not available from both of the teams for whatever reason is, we still can have a control about keeping assigning the cases into the agent backlogs, although the agents are not fully available, so the cases will not stuck. How can we do it? We don't want to overwhelm completely and just push all the cases. So we will allow them to pick a field, for example, priority. It can be a common one, and just to pick particular statuses of priority, like critical and high. So what does it mean? That means that if the cases are coming into the queue, agents are not available, fallback are not available, we tried and we stuck, the case is going to be assigned due the round robin method. So we keep trying to assign this case. And again, in order not to overwhelm, we just focusing on very important cases, such as priority critical or high, or any other field that is makes sense, severity or whatever.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so this will be a first use case when you understand the picture of how can you tune and even manually influence some settings in order to help auto assignment to be more mature to your needs if you need. I will switch to the second scenario, which is also commonly asked, and this one is relates to the agents. So a lot of customer coming from the perspective that they understand how the skills work, but then they asking how can they onboard agents that are completely new into the system, but also guide and provide them some flexibility to learn and mature in their skills. So usually customers have agents that are new and went through some training. So they get some skills, but they don't have experience. And if we just onboard them into the system, they will not have the right skills auto-extracted because they are not having historical cases yet. So let's see what are the options here we have in order to make sure that those agents are onboarded, start working and gathering this experience further. So I will start in my application with virtual teams. So what I'm trying to do, I'm going to create a team where I'm going to put all my new agents into this team. So I want to make sure that I'm not working user by user. I'm going to set up a system. So I want to make sure that I have one group of users that I'm going to add or remove if the agent not need to be in this group anymore. I'm going to use a virtual team for this. So I'm going to use new users. And I'm going to put a few users here. Let's say only two. So again, this group is available on this page. So if you need to add more users that are joining or remove the users if they already mature, you can always come here. I'm going to leverage our agent availability through the shifts page. Again, you can do it from the CRM, but a lot of customers start in this page. So I'm going to create new shift in order to define the agent assignment hours. So let's say this, I will call it morning shift.
Tali, there's two questions related to this. The
Yes.
first, is there an override feature so that an engineer can make themselves available when they stand in for someone, have them kind of like jump in to a queue?
I'm just thinking, what does it mean for auto assignment?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, how can someone just add themselves to a queue easily or jump into a queue if they're covering for folks?
So again, we can always add the agent to the queue. If agent not in the queue, there is no way for agent just to show up. Obviously, the manual assignment is always available. On the shift, they can create a shift and add the agent to the shift with the assignment hours that they want to have. Out of the office is available, but I'm not sure that I fully understand how they can add themselves into the queue that is running on auto assignment, but they are not linked to the queue, how they become available. So I would like to get a little bit more detail so I can address it.
Yeah, I hear your angle on that too. It almost seems like a bit of an admin function, right? For someone to be able to get themselves into a queue. The second
Yeah.
question here, though, what kind of notifications are available related to auto assignment? For example, are agents notified when they're assigned a case? And if no agents are available and cases are piling up, is there a way to notify designated people?
Yeah, so first of all, we have out of the box assignment and reassignment notifications. Those are activated automatically for all agents that are active in the system, like active agents that mapped into the Slack channel or email. They validated, they will get, those agents will get automatical assignment or reassignment if the case is assigned to them. We currently working on the functionality when we have just from the monitoring perspective, we have various way to validate the monitoring. We have internal dashboards that we validating the functionality. We have reports on this. We have also internal alerts that are indicating if something particular part of the SCA falling or some cases stuck, etc. We don't have customer facing alerts yet, and this is the initiative that we're currently working on. The goal is to deliver alert to the customer with the reason of the failure if the failure is massive. That not particular case stuck, but if the system, for example, have a delay on auto assignment for whatever reason it is. So we want to make sure that we are alerting ahead of time, but it's something that we're working on.
Awesome. Thank you.
Those are great questions. So let me just set it up here. I will put all days. Let's say I put those hours. I can copy them here and I can assign my new users. So the shifts page help us to define the assignment hours. We can work and separate between assignment and working hours, and all the shifts that created from this day and forward will have this shift or whatever setup we put. Now, once we have agents and we put them in the shift to define the availability, we can go to the agent insight and we can leverage the bulk edit in order to structure and frame both their skills as well as their capacity limits. So on the skills, let's say if those users went through authorization or default training, we can find the keywords or the skills that are relevant for this type of training. Let's say currently using example of authentication. And those skills can be assigned to this group of users to make sure that even if they do not have historical record or historical database of cases, they still can have those cases assigned to them with those skills. Similar settings we can do in the bulk momentum for the active backlog. So if you want to limit their backlog to only 5 cases in order not to overwhelm them, those are new users, we can leverage this. And again, we can go here and record this group of users. And similarly, hourly assignment limits, this is how frequently they're going to be assigned to the cases. So we don't want to overwhelm them again. We can maybe want to assign only one case every 2 hours, let's say. So this is something that they can do. And again, we will pick this group. You understand why we want to use the group and not individual agents. So now when we have this setup, we have the group of agents, we know their availability, and we put some limits for them and skills. We can go into the assignment board, assignment queues, and add this agent group into any queues that make sense to us. We can define the particular customers they're going to work with or particular type of cases, and all this will be done on the queues page. So this was the second use case, and I want to switch to the third one. This is going to be a quick one if we understood the direction of it. Customers asking us scenarios when they have some legacy products or some particular, it can be customer, it can be product line, it can be a category that they see some spike in those cases, so they don't want to completely ignore them, but they are legacy features and they want to make sure that they are navigating and routing them in the balanced way, not too much, not too less. So they want to make sure that particular hours of day, especially the peak hours, they can distribute those cases more evenly across the agents. And then once the peak hours off, they can leverage the regular mechanism of assignment. In order to perform such a task, we're going to go and create virtual queue. Again, in this virtual queue, we're going to focus on products or product lines. I'm just going to type simple products. I'm skipping the queues of the CRM and I'm going to this time to the case fields. In the case fields, I can leverage any custom fields. It can be product group or product category, whatever you have in the system and whatever the use case you're trying to address. For example, here I can pick those two. And again, I'm not focusing on any customers. I can, on the other hand, to set particular priorities, I can add brackets around those customers if needed. If you want to do product or product, sorry, not customers, and they need to be critical, the cases should be in critical priority. So again, the goal here is to define the set of cases that will come from those legacy products. So we're not ignoring them, but we're also not getting full volume of cases that they are created. Obviously, we're going to add here some agent group or agent organization. We can focus on particular team that makes sense to assign. And then in the settings of the queue, what we can do here in order to balance, we can leverage round robin method. But when we leveraging the round robin method, we can frame it by time. So we can make sure that they are assigned only through the morning hours when we have the rush, for example, from 8 to 10. And from through this time, all those cases from those two product lines, only the cases that are critical will come to the system and they will be in the round robin method assigned to the agents. So we will sure that they are not delayed, they are not lost, they are constantly assigned through this period of time. We can also limit this. We can say not more than 5 cases. So we don't have blown up of cases coming, even if they are all critical. And we also can turn on this functionality, which will exclude agents with the low availability. So again, if you want to reserve some agents and make sure that they are available for different type of cases, we can leverage this functionality as well. Once this queue is set up, you can enable it for automation and it will start running. Another example here, you can duplicate the queue in case if you put some sophisticated rules and you want just to clone it and change, let's say, product line and the agent, you can leverage the clone option here. So you don't need to define all the settings. You just click on the clone. It will reserve everything. You can update the details and it will create a queue. And the last example that we want to share with you guys is on the more manual assignment momentum. So as I said, in SupportLogic, we rely mainly on the AI agents to navigate this routing automatically, but we do have use cases, specific ones that require manual assignment. This is a common use case when the customer want to leverage auto assignment, but they're not fully ready and they want to make sure that they validate the assignment or the recommendations of the agents before they turn it on. So usually those customers will come from CRMs and they will have CRM queues on place. So the way to let them opportunity to use the assignment algorithm, but without turning on any automation yet, they can come to the CRM queues here, and instead of create any queue, they can just bring their CRM queue. So they will have here all the CRM queues, they can search for them, and they can just bring them in. Whenever they bring in, they need to turn it on, so it will be visible on the assignment board. Here there's icon. And obviously they need also to add some agents or teams, whatever they want to validate. So this way they will be familiar with the queues that they know ahead of time. They know what the cases they should expect in this queue, and they will be able to add the agents that they need. The rules are available here if they need, but those will not turn on until automation will turn on, so there is no need to touch them. Now, once they go to the assignment board for manual validation, they go on the board and they will see all their queues in this dropdown, and they can pick the CRM queue or whatever queue they want. Once they log the queue, the cases will start coming, all unassigned cases. And once the cases are here, the evaluation will evaluate the agents recommended and then bring the recommendation here. Let me see why I don't see any example here. So the recommendation will be here. I'm not sure why it's not coming now, but every agent will be evaluated upon factors like skills and bandwidth and all the factors like customer sentiment, etc. And they will be able to pick the relevant agent with the maximum score and assign the case. When the case is assigned in the recently assigned board, they can see the case and they can see the details of the assignment. Here is manually assigned. If the case assigned automatically, they will have this black icon, and if they go to the case, they can check also the auto assignment. How they do it is on the line of the assignment, they can click here, and it will bring all the agents that evaluated. And you can see here on the top what agent was picked. Excuse me. And what are the agents that were evaluated. So this is the best way to validate is that the assignment is done both manually and automatically appropriately, and get some details about how we evaluate those agents. Can you see my screen?
Yeah,
Okay.
thanks, Tali.
Yes, I don't know why it's going. Okay, so from the key takeaways perspective, just to summarize, so we see that agentic AI does beyond the basic assignments. It matches the queues with the optimal agents. It leverages dynamic criteria like dynamic settings, dynamic rules, etc., etc. We do have enhanced efficiency because it reduced the transfers, it reduced the manual adjustment of those managers on the queues, it provide the faster resolution, etc. And the best case is that we continue evaluation all the time. We are checking what are the agents we are proposing or recommending. We are evaluating cases that resolved. We evaluating the times of the resolution. So this mechanism is feeding itself, and we are constantly improving, which means that it's something that we will just improve over time.
I love that point. You're not going to be able to build this yourself, and it's such a specific enterprise support use case, right? So the CRMs aren't building this either. The CRMs are really built to support so many different types of businesses beyond tech companies and enterprises and brands that would need a tool like this. If you're interested, definitely jump on a Friday demo to see more, contact your account director, or set up another demo through our website. Up there in the corner, it just says get a demo. But one thing I want to highlight, and if you read our newsletter on Fridays, I'm going to highlight this on this coming Friday as well, is on the next slide, is how Coveo has been using this to so much success in reducing their mean time to resolution, cutting it in half, keeping their escalations low, and then having a real increase in their same-day resolutions. They're a brand that has gotten a lot of benefit from the routing agent. And then to continue on with this, I want to highlight two more. CyberArk here is doing the same thing, and they're seeing a lot of really great success with cases being closed a lot quicker, right? Such a reduction in their unassigned queue. What a great stat that is. And then a little unrelated to case assignment, but that they're seeing so much negative sentiment being identified and acted on. That's another really great success story with the routing agent. And then the last one here is what NICE is doing. And a lot of their successes is with our knowledge agent, but they're also seeing an incredible reduction in their mean time to resolution. Cynthia, great question on the newsletter. I appreciate your interest in it, and I will reach out to you and figure out how to get you on there. It's something that we're trying to figure out. We've got a large user base who reads it, and we need to figure out a way to get more people to be able to sign up for it. So great question. I'll have someone reach out. So folks, that's our program for today. I've got a couple things I want to call out for. First one is our YouTube channel. SupportLogic YouTube channel. We've got, you can see here, Tali is right there, the second window. She's presenting a lot of the same material. That's up on our YouTube channel, as well as other sessions from other team members of ours talking about foundation models, escalations, getting into all these really cool things that you can get into on our YouTube channel. And then one last thing to call out, believe it or not, in 2 weeks, we will be talking all about the expand module and how this is really helping account directors and customer success managers and folks in charge of expanding your current customer accounts, how we're really helping brands do that with something that we call the expand module. So Krithika and I will be on December 3rd talking all about that. Please join us for that. And Tali, thank you so much for this awesome rundown of case routing. This session is going to be up on YouTube. I will send you a link. I will also send you a link to that stuffing recipe if you care about it. And folks, have a great holiday, and thanks so much.